Welcome to Sportsbet Daily at oddsmarket.com. The weekend is nearly upon us, but our weekend starts on a Thursday with the Thursday night football. The Broncos against the Chiefs. It's NFL Week 7, and I'm joined by Spread Astaire and the Sports Keg CEO. How are we, gentlemen?
Doing great today, Flash.
Jay, I'll start with you. Monday night, I thought we got the game near enough 100% right again, and yet we fell on the wrong side of the spread on both the points and the total.
Yeah, that the money line play saved me on Green Bay, but we had that total. I mean, the guy sits down on the 3-yard line, and, you know, that's life. The underbackers win, and we lose.
Yeah, but for me, it was all about turnover. Three times they turned it over, the Packers. 3 times they dropped the ball going into the end zone. I mean, you could easily have added 14 conservative points onto that Packers total, and you get way over and you cover the spread. Because for me, Detroit, they were Billy average and didn't take advantage of the free turnover spread. You look at the Packers, I think they're going to be there or thereabouts at the end of the year.
Yeah, they're looking fantastic. Couple of takeaways from that game. I think that Detroit's secondary is one of the best secondaries in the league. A lot of the corners were playing on the ball, just fantastic, and it seemed tough for the Packers receivers to get separation. The officiating, we won't even get into that. There's been plenty said about that. And also, I thought a tough problem that Detroit had was Stafford looked great in between the 20s, but in the red zone, they seemed to slow down a bit. And I thought that was the difference in the game was the Packers' ability, their defense, to ability to get stops in the red zone.
Yeah, I look at the Green Bay D, especially in the red zone. I think they're so much happier when they can compress the space in front of them. As soon as they've got that space behind them, they come a little bit more vulnerable. But the 2 biggest things for me were Patricia, LaFleur, I think both of them have got a long, long way to go. They look at the likes of what Shanahan's doing in the 49ers, and you look at some of these younger ones that are coming up, and you think they might just overtake those ones who should and think that they could be doing better. Let's kick on to tonight's game. I'll start with you, Jace. The Chiefs -3 at the Broncos, and the total's 49.
This may very well be a trap that I'm about to fall into, but I have to do it. I don't know why the line hasn't moved off 3. I just don't see this Chiefs offense losing 3 games in a row. They have the number 1 offense in football by most metrics. I understand that the Denver defense is legitimate. They're a top 10 defense currently, but Bradley Chubb's not playing. Von Miller has not been as effective on the line as he has in years past. Add in the fact that this is not a good Denver offense. They're ranked 20th right now in offensive DVOA. Their net yards per play stats are not that great. So how does the Denver offense keep up tonight? If they were smart, they would probably hand the ball off to Philip Lindsay 40 times and try to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. But I don't really know if they're smart. Fangio, the team has responded to him defensively, but the offense still looks lost. I understand that the Denver Broncos are currently 4th, I think, in opponents' passing yards per game, but this is not your average passing game. With Tyreek Hill back and in the lineup, add in the fact that they've lost 2 in a row, I think the spot favors the Chiefs. I don't feel great about the pick, but I'm taking the Chiefs tonight on the money line, and I'm hoping that they get back on track. But I understand why anybody would be on Denver +3 tonight, but I'm going to take the Chiefs money line.
Spread, Chiefs or Broncos?
So I wanted to take the Broncos at +3.5. I was a little late on that. The line moved to 3. It looks like a lot of people are with the Broncos as well, and I think the reasons are this. Patrick Mahomes does not look 100%, and it's his right ankle that he seems to be having problems with. That's his plant ankle. So he has a little less elusiveness, and it seems like a little less zip on the ball. And I think it's affecting him mentally as well. I know that it's hard to play injured. The other thing is the home team has traditionally done very well in these Thursday night matchups. And the fact is, yesterday is a travel day for Kansas City. Well, Denver got to stay at home, work on their plays, run a practice as usual. And with, that really gives Kansas City only one day of preparation, and that would have been Tuesday. So you're almost getting 50% more preparation. I think that's a big advantage that the home teams have on Thursday night, and maybe the schedulers will have to look into giving the teams a bye before the Thursday night game. I think that can increase the quality a lot, because I know I've been having a lot of fun watching these Thursday night games, and the Fox broadcast has really brought an air of respectability and really a big game feel to it. So I do definitely appreciate that. I don't want Thursday night football to go away. I would like a little more preparation, but I think with Mahomes not being 100% and the lack of preparation in the travel, I think that's why people are attracted to a divisional matchup, taking the points at home here. And if it does swing back to 3.5, I'll probably be jumping in, because I could see a close game here in Denver tonight.
I think it's a blowout myself. I think it's Chiefs all the way. I think there's an absolute gulf here. I mean, worst case scenario, even if you give the Texans a little bit of credit, then the Chiefs are in the top three in the AFC. The Broncos, I don't think they're even in the top 8. So for me, massive gulf. The firepower that the Chiefs have, the running game that I think we're going to see tonight as well. I think this Broncos side are at least maybe 7 to 10 points behind. So for me, a -3, happy to look the gift horse in the mouth. I want to give it a massive, great big kiss, and I'm taking the -3. So Chiefs for me, big tick. Happy to see spreads thinking about going against me, and I'm happy that Jace loves the Chiefs as well. Let's move on. This is what I call a trap. The Raiders, +5.5 at the Packers, and the total's 47. I cannot believe it's only 5.5 between these spread.
So here's what I'm thinking on this game. Number one, Green Bay's got short rest because they played that tough game Monday night. The Lions bring in a physical offense, and I think that we might see some similarities here to the way the Eagles' offense was able to exploit the Packers, and the fact that Oakland and John Gruden like to use the tight ends. That forces the safeties to focus on the tight ends, opening up the running game. And I'm sure that John Gruden watched that Philadelphia Eagles game over and over, because I know that's exactly what he wants to do. The Raiders game, the Raiders have looked fantastic. I mean, I didn't expect it at all. They beat up the Chicago Bears. They didn't just win on the scoreboard. They just went in there and manhandled them. And the size of their offensive line with Colton Miller and Trent Brown on each side, I wasn't a believer in Colton Miller. I didn't believe that offensive line coach Tom Cable could develop him, but he really seems to have done it, because Miller's actually pretty athletic for his size. He was hitting his block and then moving downfield to help Jacobs. And Trent Brown just looked huge compared to Khalil Mack. I haven't seen Mack be taken out of a game by just one man like that, and as long as I can remember. So you got to give credit to Trent Brown. I think that was it was a questionable offseason decision that's definitely paid off for John Gruden, adding Trent Brown. I think the Raiders will try and get their tight ends involved and use the running game, use the Eagles. I don't know if they'll get the straight upset here, but I do think that they can keep it close and maybe cover the spread.
Jay, look at this game. London, you win in London equals the playoffs. Who would have thought the Raiders would make the playoffs? Do you think they will? And are we getting such a short 5.5 minus for the Packers because they haven't got the receivers that Aaron Rodgers deserves?
Well, I agree with you there. The weapons that the Green Bay Packers have put around Aaron Rodgers are a joke, man. We saw that on display on Monday night, you and I. But I agree with spread here, man. I did not expect the Oakland Raiders to come out and win 3 of their first 5 games. They have looked a lot better than the betting public thought they would at the start of the year. And I think he's right. I think that they're going to try and run all over Green Bay. They're going to take a look at what the Eagles did successfully, and that was destroy that running defense of the Green Bay Packers. And I would expect Gruden to maybe like a 60-40 split to the run And I think that they could probably squeak under the number here of 5.5. I like this Green Bay team, Flash. I might not be as high on them as you are, but I do think that they're probably a playoff team for sure. But, they should have had an easier time with Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? They win that game by a last-second field goal. It would not shock me to see the Oakland Raiders squeak in under the number here, 5.5. So I'm not betting the game, but if I did, I would probably lean towards taking the points.
Okay, well, my view is I'm leaving the game well alone as well, because I believe the 5.5 is a trap on both sides. I think that you've got the Raiders, who could well enjoy, maybe just get beat by 2 or 3 with a last-minute field goal again, but still come out as a winner. And the Packers just do enough. I think it's more tonight is just to get a W for the Packers and keep on their merry way. So for me, it's a trap game, and just beware. We're going to move on. If we thought the Oakland Raiders were doing well, what about the 49ers? -10 against the Redskins. Jay, I put it to you that you could throw touchdowns against this Redskins, D.
I love this San Francisco 49er team. They were the first season win total over I wrote about on the odds market article in the offseason. I think that they are going to crush this team. I think this is like 27-3. I would be shocked if the Washington Redskins score more than 10 points in this game, because as good as this 49ers offense has been, and it's been good, I think they're just outside the top 10 offensively. They are number 2 right now in defensive DVOA on defense. They are for real, and I just can't see any problem that they're going to face against a Washington offense that is not even average. They're below average. Half the time, they don't know what quarterback they're throwing out there. So I like this game. I'm laying the 10. I think the line's 10 or 10.5. I think that this is a 17 to 20 point blowout.
Couldn't agree more. Spread? You like the 49ers?
Yep, I'm with you guys. One thing, Jason said it all as far as, the matchup. We have a below average offense, a below average defense. Remember, this Washington team just barely beat Miami. I mean, Miami is one of the worst teams we've seen in the past 10 years, and they squeaked out a victory. And one of my key factors here in capping this, you're always worried about the West Coast team going to the East Coast. Well, and the let down, maybe not playing a 1-5 team, but Kyle Shanahan has major issues with the Washington Redskins front office, and particularly owner Daniel Snyder. They left in very bad terms. Shanahan was not paid the money that he should have been paid when they left, and he is still very, very upset about that. He has really nothing to say positive about the Washington organization or his time there, and I think that that's going to give him the impetus to run up the score. I expect to see him still pulling out all the best plays in his playbook, even if they're up by 17, even if they're up by 20. I don't expect him to take the foot off the gas. I think that Shanahan really wants to make a statement here, and I think that he's going to enjoy every second of running up the score against this hapless Washington Redskins football team.
Well, I wrote down Shanahan beef with Washington and clean sweep, the 3 of us. I think the -10 is an absolute moral, is what I would normally say when I'm doing the Premier League punters, when I just don't see anything other than over 10. I just can't. And as far as a golf goes, they could shut down maybe 1 of 3 ways for the 49ers, but they'll kill you with the other 2. And the Redskins, well, they're coming into a gunfight with, I don't even know what they're coming. They've got no weapons at all for me. So, yeah, 49ers all the way. Here's a game. I've wrote shootout. Cardinals +3 at the Giants, and the number's 50.5. Jay?
Yeah, this is a pass for me, but I think that the Cardinals probably do enough to win this game. One thing that I've been doing all year is I've been fading the Cardinals in the first half of games, and it's been a winner more than a loser. I would probably take the Giants in the first half of this game. And if I was giving advice to anybody, and come back in the second half with the Cardinals, because every defense that this team plays, because their snap rate is the fastest in the league, they get these defenses tired in the second half that they play. And that's why the majority of their points have come in the second half of these games. So for me, it's a pass. If I was going to bet anything, I would probably take a shot with Daniel Jones and the Giants in the first half and lay off the rest of the game.
I think total points is the way to go. I think either side could do it because both are going to throw the ball deep late in the third and right into the fourth as well. I mean, this is a tight game, but I think it goes over the 50.5. What do you think, spread?
Yeah, so this one's teetering for whether or not I'm going to put it on my card. It's right there at the end. But I do lean Arizona here. I think that, Kyler Murray is still a little more dynamic at this point in their careers than Daniel Jones. And Jay said it well. They are tiring him out. And I think the other thing is Kingsbury, he's a pretty bright young guy. He's seen what is working and what isn't working in the first half, and he's coming back to those plays that have been working. I think he comes out with about 4 or 5 plays that he knows are going to work in the second half, and he's able to use them, on third and long, third and short. He knows what he wants to dial up. So you combine that with the defenses getting tired with the fast snap rate, and I think Arizona's got a great chance here. And another one we do is when we have 2 bad football teams, and I consider both these teams to be below average, we're going to take the points here because we don't really know what we're going to get with either team, and we might as well get the points. But when it comes down to it, I think that the Arizona Cardinals have a better chance to score in the fourth quarter with the game on the line than the New York Giants do.
Okay. Well, we talk about one of the worst teams for a very, very long time. The Dolphins plus 16.5 going to a Buffalo play. Defense has been on fire, but 16.5 points spread.
This is a complete stay away for me. The idea that Buffalo, which to me, is a great defensive team and average offensively is laying 17, just shows you how bad this Miami team really is. But unlike the Washington game, I think if Buffalo gets ahead, they do get really conservative. I could see the game sitting, around 13 or 14, and Buffalo really turning into old school offensive I formation football team. So I'm completely staying away from this game. It should be interesting to watch. But yeah, I don't really like it. The 17, the odds makers have really said, you know what, everyone wants to fade Miami. We're going to make it really hard for you to do it. And I think they did a good job here on this line. Jay,
fade Miami or go with Buffalo?
I have to take the Miami Dolphins on general principle alone. I mean, is this Buffalo team much improved? Yes, it is. Has this Dolphins team looked absolutely abysmal? Yes, they have. But one of these games, the Miami Dolphins are not going to get steamrolled by a team. The Washington Redskins don't count. They're almost as bad. I still hate this Buffalo offense. I'm not sold on Josh Allen. They're off to a good start, and I like the defense a lot. I really do. The analytics really like this defense, but this is still Josh Allen that captains the offensive ship. Somehow they've managed to win 4 of the first 5 games with an offense that's ranked 26th in the league, according to most metrics. Winning at this rate is not sustainable when you have an offense rated that low. That's why I'm really not a believer in this team yet. They won their last 3 games by a total of 17 points. Now they're going to lay 17 against the Dolphins. I know they're terrible, but it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to hold my nose, and I'm taking the 17.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I've actually made it one of my official plays. I've gone Miami plus 16.5. I know you can maybe get 17 in a place, which is at least 3 scores. I put Buffalo defense improved on only one side of the ball. So for me, I can't see Buffalo blowing anyone away and giving them 17 points. And people haven't even mentioned it's an AFC East divisional game. And they throw up all sorts of weird ones. So give me the points. I'm on Miami. It's an official pick. Happy with the points. I mean, I could still be maybe 5, 6, maybe even 10 points still in credit going into that final quarter. Because for Buffalo, it's all about coming second in the AFC East and maybe getting a wild card place. Let's move on. Here's a trap game if ever I've seen one. The Seahawks -3 at the Ravens and 49. Jay, take me away.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are still the most overrated team in football. Going into last week, they gave up the most yards per play in the National Football League. On the flip side, I like the Seattle team, but their defense, this is not the team of old. The Legion of Boom is gone. That defense is pretty mediocre. They have one of the 3 best quarterbacks in football. And Chris Carson is he holds it down for them as a running back, but I don't know. This game's a pass for me. If I was going to look one way, I would look to the over, because I do think that the Ravens will be able to put up points on Seattle, and this Seattle offense is really solid. Even though they never give Russell Wilson weapons ever, he always manages to score in the high 20s. So against a really overrated defense like this Baltimore Ravens team, I would probably look to the over, if anything.
Okay, spread?
All right, so I'm going to turn this game on, and it's going to be like going in a time machine to the 1980s for this style of football. I think these teams are both going to try and run the ball and run the ball and run the ball some more. I kind of like the Ravens here, but I don't know if it's going to make my card. I haven't made a play on it yet, but I definitely did circle this as a potential upset. And the reason being is just that a lot of times Seattle excels because they're playing the exact opposite styles of football. I think the Ravens have the opportunity to try to beat them at their own game. And this game will be decided on the line of scrimmage. And if we're choosing offensive lines, I think the Ravens do have a stronger offensive line than Seattle. One thing about the Ravens, well, both teams actually, their defenses are kind of living on reputation. We both think that Seattle's got a hard-hitting defense. The Ravens have a hard-hitting defense. You look at the numbers, that hasn't necessarily displayed that this year. But both these coaches are smart coaches, and what they've been trying to do is control the ball, control time of possession to keep these defenses off the field. I think that the line of scrimmage and time of possession is going to be key here. I'm looking at the Ravens +3, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that plunge. I might just be staying away from this game altogether. But kind of as an old school football fan, it's definitely going to be on my TV on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more, because I look at this and go, money line's the only way you can go, because Seattle don't blow anyone away and they like to just get over the line and get the W. I look at it and go, both teams have blown coverage in defense. Both of them have just given up too many points from silly situations. So for me, I lean the under at 49, but I can't go near the game. It's just one of those where I like both teams. I think we see them deeper into the season, but it is a total flip of a coin. But if you want to give up the 3 points for the Seahawks, wow, you are going deep into the fourth without knowing your fate. Okay, here's a game I really, really like, and it's the Rams -3 at the Falcons. 54.5 now. I just can't see how the Rams are only -3 spread.
I think what we're looking at here is this Atlanta team. Talk about a tale of two cities. This is a tale of two teams. They look much better at home. They only get their only win this year against a fairly strong Philadelphia team at home. And they look faster at the Dome. They look more comfortable. And they definitely do have the offense. This whole Jalen Ramsey thing kind of threw me for a loop, because I was sitting here and I was thinking, earlier in the week that I was going to be coming on the show and I was going to be picking the Atlanta Falcons. And, one of the main parts of my handicap was going to be that with Talib being injured, Marcus Peters getting traded, that you were going to have two basically essentially backup cornerbacks going against Julio Jones, Ridley, and Sanu, and I thought that Ryan would be able to exploit that. I think the addition of Jalen Ramsey is going to have to force me to reconsider a bit whether or not I want to invest in this game, because he can shut down one side of the field, and that completely could change the game for him. I think that I don't like going against the Falcons at home. They are really an up and down team. They can look really bad and then look really good. And usually when they look really good, it's home. I can understand why money's coming in on the Falcons, but the whole Jalen Ramsey addition's really thrown me for a loop.
Jay, Rams -3 against the Falcons.
I'm stunned that this line has not moved all week. It's actually alarming. And I wonder if it's a trap and I'm on the wrong side. The ticket count has to be heavily in the favor of the Los Angeles Rams, yet the line doesn't move. Usually when I can't explain why a side isn't moving, I stay off the game, but I can't do it this week. The Atlanta Falcons are an abysmal football team. Specifically the defense. They are dreadful. They are in the bottom 5 of almost every defensive metric that I use to gauge a defense's overall strength. I think this is exactly the defense that the Rams need at this point in time to try and get back on track. As far as the Atlanta offense, they're an average offense in the league, not great, not terrible. Matty Ice usually doesn't have an issue moving the ball and scoring points, especially like spread set at home. If the Falcons defense was better, I would take the Falcons in this spot. But because they're usually a different team at home, like he said. But I can't do it. Not this week. The defense is that bad. The Rams come into this game losers of 3 in a row. Although they should not have lost the game against Seattle, the leg misses the game-winning field goal. But, I don't fault this team for losing last week because I've been sky high on the Niners, their offseason. That's why I told everybody to take them. But this game, they need against a team with a bad defense. I think we're going to see Jared Goff get back on track. I'm on the Rams, period, full stop. I got to take them. If it's a trap, it's a trap. I'm taking them.
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a theme going on here where you and I are on the same page. Very spooky, that sort of behaviour, my lad. Because
we have a good record when we're on the same page.
No, we certainly do. I mean, I've got here the Rams too quick on the defensive line. I think they get to Matt Ryan 4 or 5 times minimum. I think that Gurley run, keep Matt Ryan off the field and make sure that he has to air it out to get them back into the game. I think it comes down to the Rams have got a quick D and Falcons have got no D. So for me, it's Rams -3. And I've gone under 53. I know the market's gone against me. It's 54.5. But I'm going under, and I'm going the Falcons to get beat up by this D. Now, let's go to this next game because this is just NFC divisional hatred. We've got Eagles +3, Cowboys, and the total's 48.5. Now, if there's an overrated side that you say about the Baltimore, Jay, well, don't give me Garrett, don't give me Prescott, and how these two get the rewards they have, and yet the Eagles are +3. Well, I've already locked it in. Jay, join me again.
Yeah, I can't disagree. They're probably right now, Dallas, the most overrated side in the NFC because they had a good start. But yeah, I kind of like the over, Flash. I agree with you. If I was going to be on a side, I would take the points with the Eagles. But the Eagles secondary is really bad, and it's because the front seven that's been so dominant for them the last few years has been ordinary. And now because of that, the quarterbacks have more time. You're starting to see the cracks in this Eagles secondary. So I don't think Dallas, even though they've struggled the last couple of weeks putting points on the board, I don't think that they are going to have a problem moving the football in this game. I think both teams are going to get exactly what they want. I think Dak Prescott is going to go over the top of that secondary a couple times to Amari Cooper. So for me, if I'm not betting the game, but if I was, I would be on the over, but I understand why you're taking the points here.
Yeah, and I'm taking the under because I don't trust Prescott. I don't trust him to hit a wide open receiver in the car park. I just think that he is a joke. And as for Garrett, I just don't understand how he is the head coach of such a massive organization. I've got no time for him because if it weren't for Zeke Elliott, who's single-handedly tried to carry this side, they're just one-dimensional for me. Put the ball in.
You're not concerned. You're not concerned about that Eagles secondary at all, though,
well,
as far as the total.
Listen, every dog has its day, and if there's one quarterback I want to invite to throw to my secondary, it's him because 1 out of 5 will hit the target. There'll be takeaways. I just see the Eagles +3. I think the Eagles' money line is unbelievable value. This Cowboys side are only favourites because of the weight of money that would come for them if they weren't. And it's as simple as that for me. I can't have them. Anyway, spread. Eagles or the Cowboys?
I'm exactly with Jace here. I was all set to hit the submit button on my Eagles bet, and the Eagles secondary, just nightmares keep flashing in my head. I keep having flashbacks of Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, just 5-yard separation. It just so tough to watch. Watching them last week, it was just, if they don't get pressure, they're done. And I know that Schwartz doesn't like to blitz a lot because he has a lot of faith in his defensive line, but they're just not getting it done. And when they have to bring 6 or 7, these corners can't play man coverage. I'm with you on the Eagles. As a recreational play, I might jump in because I do like the Eagles more as a team. Also wanted to make a point with you about Jason Garrett. I completely agree. How does a man, Jerry Jones, who fired Tom Landry on his first day owning the team, he fired Tom Landry, and he's kept Jason Garrett for 10 years. It's just unbelievable.
Amazing.
The loyalty that he's having to Garrett right now with the lack of results. And to your point about Prescott, I think that if he had a more forward-thinking, offensive-minded coach, he would look to be a much better quarterback. I don't think that he gets the opportunities. I think their offense is really backwards. And another point I'd like to make about the Cowboys, was Zeke really training in Cabo? Because he doesn't seem to have that quickness or burst that he had last year of getting through the hole. I remember last year being on the Cowboys, I just wanted the ball in Zeke's hands every play. I wanted Zeke to have the ball. I don't feel that way watching him anymore. He seems to have gone from elite to above average. And in the NFL, that can be just a little step slower. I don't think you're getting the same burst from Zeke, and I think it shows in the Cowboys offense. I lean the Eagles +3 here. Have not yet made the play, but we'll see how I feel on Sunday. It's the Eagles secondary that's kept me from hitting submit.
Yeah, I think the big one for me is Garrett again being out coached, and the coaches are saying, we know you're going to only put it into Elliott's hands, so we'll set the trap. Go on, run on us. We know you're coming, and they just make sure that they stop that run. Yeah, he's going to get through because he's an absolute class individual. But if you know what's coming, it's easy to plan for, and that's what I think they do. Dallas for me, complete and utter phonies. Right, Texas +1 at the Titans. Total's 47.5. Spread?
I like the Texans here. I think you're just getting the better team. Deshaun Watson, you're getting the by far better quarterback. And, I just don't see what are the Titans doing. They're starting Ryan Tannehill now. Does that inspire a lot of confidence in you? It sure doesn't in me. I think the Mariota's kind of got a raw deal. With
Aren't
the different
they
offenses he's had to run that don't work to his
the Titans
that don't work to his strengths.
Oh, the Titans. Okay.
Yeah. So do you like the Titans, Jay?
I like the Titans too. I agree. I think no, not the Titans. I'm sorry. I like the Texans. I like the Texans, and I think the total in this game is about right. I just think that Houston, they're in the top 12 in both offense and defense. Now I understand that their defensive line has played they're not as good as they were last year. I understand that they lose Clowney, but they have the best trio of wide receivers in the league. Deshaun Watson looks rock solid so far this season. And I think the Titans are a bad football team, man. I took them under 8.5 wins for a season win total. I guess I would rather start Ryan Tannehill than Marcus Mariota, but neither of them are good. All they have is that running game. And even that defense that everybody talked about last year that they thought that they were rock solid. There have been times this year where that defense has looked pedestrian, has looked ordinary at best. So, to me, you have to take the Houston Texans here.
Couldn't agree more, and I think you go over. I think you go over 47.5 because the Texans have got that ability to go deep, go 30 plus. The Titans, I've got no time for the Titans, to be honest. In fact, every time I've even mentioned the Titans, they've come and bit me, so I just don't even want to get involved. Monday night game, looking forward to it. My boys, the Patriots, -10 at the Jets, 43.5. Seems a bit skinny to me, Jay. And I like the Patriots -10.
All right, well, I was tempted to grab the 10 points and take the Jets, right? Sam Darnold is not Luke Falk. I don't know if he's a franchise quarterback yet, but he can move the ball. The Jets scored 2 touchdowns earlier in the season against the Patriots, but none of them were offensive, right? So I decided to take the over. I agree with you. I think the line is cheap. I assumed that the public was on the under in this game. The Patriots have the number 1 defense in football. The Jets are in the upper half of the league in defense. So I assumed that the public money was on the under. But then I checked the line, and it's moved a point in my direction. So apparently the public likes the over too, which concerns me a little bit, but I still feel good about it. I like points in this game, Flash. I think Darnold is going to be able to move the offense somewhat, even though New England has the number 1 defense. If the Jets put up 2 touchdowns or 17 points in this game, which I believe they're capable of doing with Darnold at quarterback, I think the game goes over the number. I think Brady in the offense is going to hang 30 like he does every week. And if that's the case, I think that the over of 43.5 still is a little cheap. So give me the over.
Couldn't agree more. My 2-unit play this -10 spread.
So I haven't made a play on this game yet either, but I'll tell you what a difference a quarterback makes, right? I mean, did Sam Darnold take that team from looking like, they look like the Dolphins and the Redskins before that game, and now they look like a legitimate football team that, has a chance to compete with anybody. And you see how much confidence that Gase has. Heard reports late in the week last week that with Falk, Gase was so discouraged that he refused to even run any of his favorite plays. He didn't want them on tape, and he was saving them all for Darnold came back. And that report pretty much came out to be true because this looked like a completely different offense. I think Jace has a great angle here with the over. I think that Darnold will be able to put up some points and score. I think the 10 points is just about right. It's just so hard for me not to just go to my instincts and take a big number at home in a divisional game, but the Patriots are that good. They haven't been super against the spread this year, but still staying away from it for right now. I definitely think it'll be interesting because I think it's going to be a great test for Sam Darnold and Adam Gase. How much is this offense really improved with Darnold and what type of quarterback he can really be? Because if he can do it in prime time against the Patriots, that's going to indicate to me that he can do it against any team.
31-17 I've gone for, so let's hope I'm right. I haven't been too far away, to be fair, the last few weeks. They just don't get me on Green Bay again. I just can't believe I've just wandered back there in my head. I'm just going to be looking forward to the Chiefs and the Broncos tonight. Lads, top work that. I hope we have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you Monday night, Jay.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, if you need me over the weekend, my phone will be engaged.
I will call it if I need you.
Top man. Spread, as always, I look forward to seeing you next week, and good luck.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Cheers, boys. A lot of fun. So that was Spread Astaire and the Sports Keg CEO going through week 7 of the NFL. 49ers still unbeaten. Patriots Monday night still unbeaten. Will them records hold up? Take care.
All right. A lot of fun. Thanks again, gentlemen.